play your melody. I'm Paul Canzoneri, and today I'd like to talk to you about sequencing arpeggios and how you can do this to come up with some really cool ideas. Alright, so an arpeggio is basically just a chord, and you play one note at a time. So instead of playing, something like this, you play it. Now, the cool thing about arpeggio sequences is that instead of just going up and down, the arpeggio over and over again, it sounds kind of boring. You can do all kinds of really cool, interesting, ideas, mixing them up, and it's going to make it sound like you're doing, all kinds of stuff, but you can also really, nail every chord as it comes along. So instead of just playing, in the key center, you can really, do a lot of movement like that, but also, highlighting and emphasizing each chord as it comes along. So it's going to make, it's going to make you sound not only like you're doing all kinds of cool stuff, but also that you're really, you know what you're doing and you know what you're playing over, and it's going to really, increase the ability of your playing. You're going to be surprised how good you're going to sound. Alright, so my favorite arpeggio sequence is the group of 4 sequence, and it sounds something like this. Now this example is in the key of A major, and it's an A major 7 arpeggio pattern 1. Now basically what's going on here is you're starting at the root or any other note, and you're going up 4 steps in the arpeggio, or 4 notes. And then what you're doing is after those 4 notes, you're coming back down to the note above the one you just started on, and going up the 4 and coming back and so forth. So you got something like this going on. And it's the same for going back down. Now, the most difficult thing I think about these is remembering what what note you're coming back to, and then also there's going to be some interesting finger logistical issues you're going to come into with these arpeggios. Especially in the way of there's a lot of weird finger barring in there, and also there's a lot of string skipping and alternate picking across the strings, pretty quickly. So when you go ahead and learn these, you're going to want to go ahead and figure out which finger you're going to use, which fingers you're going to bar, and then also, how you're going to pick it, where your string skipping is, and you're going to want to practice it, pretty slow until you get, that kind of ingrained in your head the way you're going to do it, because you're going to want to do it the same way every time, otherwise it's going to be extremely difficult to kind of wing it, as they would say. Alright, one of my next favorite arpeggio sequences is the every other note arpeggio sequence, and it sounds something like this. Now this one is in the key of F sharp minor, and it's a F sharp minor 7 arpeggio. It's a relative minor of the the A major arpeggio we were playing in the last example, so there's a lot of common notes, and this one works in that you're going to be skipping between notes. So let's say you start on the F sharp, you're going to skip the A and you're going to go right to the C sharp. Then, like the groups of 4 one, after you go up, you're going to come back down and start on the next note up from the one you just started on. So if we went from F sharp to C sharp, we're going to go, when we come back down, from A to E, and then from B to F sharp, and it's going to look something like this. And then of course coming back down is going to be the same thing. This one is really cool. It almost has kind of like a chime or like a bell quality. Sometimes, if you can get, like a good tone on your guitar, it really has this cool sound to it. And it's a little bit easier, I think, to play than the last example. There's not as much finger barring and not as much weird fingering, but there still is some tricky stuff in there. So you're going to want to go ahead and, of course, figure out how you're going to play it, before you even start, trying to work it up. And then once you have, a good way to do it every time, that's when you go ahead and start, trying to work it in pretty fast. So my last example is another group of 4 arpeggio sequence. And this one is, more just for strictly major and minor chords. And it sounds something like this. Now this one is in F sharp minor, and there's 2 cool things I like about these arpeggios. Is number 1, there are pull-offs and sweeping, so you can kind of get a zippy kind of a thing going on. And also you're combining 2 arpeggio shapes. So it kind of gets you, used to doing that, which is really great for moving, from one position to another. Now, what you're basically going to want to do with this one is you're going to want to take, your pattern 2 minor arpeggio and your pattern 4 minor arpeggio, and you're going to be reaching up. And your first note of every little 4-note sequence is going to be like stolen from the pattern 4 minor arpeggio, like this. Then reaching up again, reaching up again, and reaching up again. Now, these can be done in a million different ways. You can also convert them to the major arpeggios and do like the pattern 1 major with the pattern 3. You can do the same exact thing, just going to be stealing and combining the 2 different patterns. You can do them in groups of 3 as well, which sounds, pretty cool, and is another cool little zippy thing you can do. And also, you can also go up as well, just straight up, or you can do like a reverse kind of up where you're starting high, ending low, and then, going up to the next note, starting high, ending a little bit lower, a little bit higher, lower, higher, lower, so on and so forth. And I think you can get a lot of mileage out of this one, as well as the other 2 ones that I showed you in this lesson. So that was my lesson on sequences of arpeggios. I hope you can, take these ideas and come up with some unique examples of your own. And remember, there's a million different ways you can experiment with this. There's a million different sequences you can come up with. Groups of 5, groups of 6, every other note. You can add other notes that aren't in the arpeggios to them and do sequences with that. The list is endless. Just take some time to experiment with it. I promise you come up with some really really cool ideas and some things that are going to sound, really awesome and really, improve your playing. So, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I'm Paul Canzoneri. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next week.